Welcome back to our technology series. Today's module is all about return on investment and three-dimensional imaging. And we will take a look at it just like we have other pieces of technology, both from a risk and from a benefit standpoint, so you can see if this piece of technology is going to be right for you in the future. Now, financially, what's the risk? It's pretty expensive. If you're looking at a traditional pan, you may spend somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000 in order to bring a pan into your office. That's a two-dimensional image. If you're looking at three-dimensional imaging, you have some choices to make. You can purchase a low-volume machine, and that means what you're going to see, your ability to diagnose, is going to be limited to the image that a pan would give you. Now that's not a bad thing because it's pretty much our dental field of view. But some clinicians would prefer to have a higher volume image, and those 3D images that you may have seen are pretty much head and neck. So you get 3D not only of the mandible and the maxilla, but you get everything from, neck to top of skull. At $100,000, you're looking at the lower volume, and around $175,000, $180,000, you get that maximum value image. So initial cost is pretty expensive. The other thing you need to look at from an ROI standpoint is what it costs you to maintain the machine. A two-dimensional pan typically has some cost of maintenance if something goes wrong, but that's about it. A three-dimensional imaging system, because it's such a high-tech piece of equipment and it's such a high-changing piece of software right now, typically brings with it a price tag of about $5,000 a year. Now most companies let you off the hook for the first 2 years so you can get settled in, use the technology, and not have to pay that fee. But you have to look at two pieces. You've got to look at the front-end cost, somewhere between $100,000 and $180,000, and you have to long-term look at the $5,000 annual fee so you can stay current as the technology progresses. If you start looking at learning curve, not a big deal. Two-dimensional pans and three-dimensional imaging work about the same. It's kind of point and shoot, and every assistant and hygienist, as well as you and I, can work this piece of technology really easily. So learning curve, not a big issue. Integration, also not a big issue. We've been using two-dimensional pans in dentistry for a long time now. All of our patients are very accustomed to having that image made, and in today's world, to be able to give them something better, a three-dimensional image, in their eyes, they're just walking into the machine as they always have. You and I just get a better product, which is a huge benefit, better treatment. But first, let's take a look at money on the benefit side. Is there a financial benefit to having 3D technology? It depends. If you're going to do dentistry the way you've always done it, then a two-dimensional pan is probably a pretty reasonable piece of technology to own. But in today's world, not only as a specialist, but as a general practitioner, many of us are doing endo. 3D imaging can be isolated to one particular tooth just as well as it can to look at all the teeth. And it is incredible from a diagnostic standpoint and a treatment standpoint what you can accomplish when you're looking at the canals of a tooth three-dimensionally. Now the biggest area of opportunity as far as finance goes is the general practitioner and even the specialist, but especially the general practitioner, placing dental implants where maybe we haven't done that so much in the past. If you get into placing your own implants, or as a specialist, if you have this technology to make that job easier for you, that is a huge opportunity to make this financial picture make more sense. Better treatment. Hands down, three-dimensional imaging gives us more information so we can better treat our patients than a 2D image. It just makes sense. So those of us who are using three-dimensional imaging on a day-to-day practice can provide our patients with better care than when we used a 2D image. And last but not least, if we take a look at marketing, again, as for every piece of technology out there, you have an opportunity to separate yourself from other practices in an area, especially with this piece of technology. Because its initial cost is so high, there are relatively few dentists in any given area who own it. So, if you have the stomach for making a big-time purchase, if you have the stomach to maybe add some procedures to your practice that you wouldn't have otherwise done, 3D imaging is a really cool piece of technology that can really afford you and your patients better care and can really separate you from everyone else in the neighborhood.